Howdy folks, and welcome back to another episode of Tyria Talk. My name is Richie, and this show is all about the awesome sauce that is the upcoming MMO, Guild Wars 2. This is episode number 22, and today the topic is incentive. What is the incentive for people to keep on playing MMOs for months and months and months and stuff like that? Now, before I get into today's topic, I just wanted to say really quickly that I recently, this past weekend, hit 1,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel. That is amazing. It's taken a lot of work, but I really appreciate everyone supporting me and continuing to sub up. I'm going to probably do a video that kind of, talks about the direction of the channel and what I've been doing and kind of say a more formal thank you. But I just wanted to mention that real quickly. Thank you very much. Now, the topic today is incentive. I kind of wanted to talk about this because of my previous episode of Tyria Talk, the one about gear-based MMOs versus skill-based MMOs. The topic came up that if you're not, if the end game does not require you to grind for more gear because you don't need more and more powerful gear because it's not a gear-based MMO, what is your incentive to keep playing? And I thought I covered that sufficiently in that topic, but I got a lot of questions and comments about it, so I wanted to kind of expand upon my explanation a little bit. And I also did a Tyria Talk a long time ago, maybe like 8 months ago or so, about endgame, and I want to kind of update some of my thoughts on that because we have a lot more information now. So that's the topic today. Now, let's kind of talk about a little bit of MMO history here. A lot of people have been playing MMOs, and it's becoming, increasingly more popular. But if you think about the most popular MMOs out there, the World of Warcraft, Star Wars The Old Republic, Rift, Lord of the Rings Online, there's a bunch of them that are really, really popular. And all of those have a very common theme in that they follow the formula of a gear-based MMO. Okay, what that means is you hit max level, and your gear level pretty much stinks, and you got to work pretty hard at increasing the power of your gear so that you can take out the next challenge and the next challenge and the next challenge. And if you work really hard at it and you get the best gear in the game, and then you kind of are prepared to, you can take out the most challenging content then, and there's some prestige there. But then you wait for the developers to kind of put in new content, and then you take out that content, which is even more powerful. So the most popular MMOs of the last 8-9 years have kind of followed that formula. Now, I know there's going to be tons of people that say, hey, what about this game? What about that game? Yes, there are exceptions to this. I'm talking very broadly, very general, that you can probably get a really huge pool of people that have played, those 4 or 5 games that I mentioned before. And there's a lot of people thinking that that's how an MMO works. But there are other ways to do that. When you're talking about Guild Wars 2, and when you're talking about that it's not a gear-based system, it kind of makes people wonder, well, what do you mean? What am I supposed to do when I hit max level? If I'm not getting better and better gear, I'm not going to play that game. Why would I keep playing the game if I don't get cooler, like, +2 weapons and stuff like that? Well, that's kind of what the topic is today. Well, what is your incentive? Now, I will say very briefly that incentive is subjective. Meaning what makes me keep playing a game is not going to be the same as what makes you keep playing a game. It's going to be different. And the developer's job is to kind of hit the largest common, denominators here. They want to try to get the, hugest audience they can to continually play the game. So there are some general things that help people, continue to play the game once they've done certain things. So I will say that up front, that what works for me is not going to work for you. So incentive is subjective, and there's going to be people that, really do prefer a gear-based system. That's what really motivates them. They want to have that kind of gear treadmill. And I'm not trying to, and I said this last time too, I'm not trying to knock gear-based versus skill-based. I'm not saying one is better than the other. They are completely different systems. Obviously, gear-based MMOs are very, very successful. I, subscribe to that mentality for a long time. I enjoy them. I'm ready for something different. And I'm excited about Guild Wars 2, but, I'm not, it's not saying one is better than another. All I'm trying to do is for people who are just kind of like trained to think that way, and I really understand it because it took me a while to wrap my brain around this. There are other ways to incentivize people to play MMOs than just giving you more and more powerful gear. What I'm trying to do is kind of like Morpheus talking to Neo in the Matrix. I'm trying to free your mind. Alright? If you take the blue pill, the story ends, and you wake up and you can play World of Warcraft forever. But if you take the red pill, you get to stay in Tyria, and I'll show you how far this rabbit hole goes. Whoa, I know Kung Fu. Let's talk about incentive. Now, when you're in a gear-based system, you might think that the reason why you continue to play is because you want to get that more powerful gear. Like, you want to get +5 more to your stats because you got the next more powerful gear. But I really don't think that that's the incentive. All right, why are you getting that +5 gear? Why do you need that more powerful gear? Well, it's because you want to take out the more challenging content. Aha, we have something different there. All right, it's not necessarily the +5 strength that's making you play the game. It's that you need that +5 strength in order to take out that next challenge. So you want to see more content. You want to fight the bigger, badder monster. You want to complete the dungeon. All right, so now we're starting to get into something that's a little bit more, concrete about what the incentive really is. All right, a lot of people are confusing, I think, the actual stat upgrades with what they want to accomplish. I believe that when you really break it down, people want to see all the content in the game. They want to take out the toughest content in the game. They want the achievement for taking out the toughest content in the game. They maybe want a title that's associated with it. They want to show off armor that really looks cool. All right, they want to be able to have the prestige and know that they took out that content. And those are all very different things than getting better and better gear. But they all are incentives. Some people, you can take it even different. Some people are like vanity pets or collecting mounts, and some people like crafting and all these different things. So all these things can draw you into an MMO and make you continue playing them, regardless of whether you're still leveling up or if you're at max level. And I think that it's important to recognize that, is it really the +2 stats? Is it really the +10 armor? If you really break it down, you might find out that that's not really the incentive. That's not really what gets you motivated. It's all these other things. All right, with that out of the way, let's talk about Guild Wars 2 specifically. Now, there was some reaction to my last video that said, well, what do you mean Guild Wars 2 is not going to be a gear-based system? How do you know that? I need a link. I need a source, everything. Well, it's part of it's a general feeling coming from someone who's played Guild Wars 1, because Guild Wars 1 is not a gear-based game. And I know that they want to take some of that core philosophy over to Guild Wars 2, but there are specific quotes that you can find out there. Like Colin Johansson, I'll actually read one of them directly to you. Colin Johansson says this: everyone, including casual gamers, by level 80 should have the best statistical loot in the game. We want everyone on an equal power base. The rare stuff becomes the really awesome looking armors. It's all about collecting unique looking stuff and collecting all the other rare collectible items in the game. Armor pieces, potentially different potions. A lot more of that is still up in the air until we finalize a lot of those reward systems as we get closer to release. So, and I've seen other quotes that are similar as well. They don't want it to be difficult for you to get the best stats in the game. But what is difficult is, hey, you want armor that looks like it came out of that explorable mode dungeon? Well, that dungeon is going to kick your butt if you try to play it. But if you get through it, you can get this really cool looking armor. So, you can get the best gear in the game through crafting. You can get the best gear in the game through doing PvP or world versus world or doing these dungeons. But they're all going to look very, very different. They're all going to have unique skins. So you can say, oh, wow, look at that really cool armor. He must be a master in all those crafting professions. Or he must be top in PvP. Or he must have beaten all the explorable mode dungeons, whatever. Those are the reasons, what make you stand out. Not the fact that they're statistically better. So that's what we mean about a skill-based system. Is that you get better at the game by learning more about the game, learning how to play your character, and learning different strategies and tactics, working well as a team, and that takes a lot of skill. It's not going to be a factor of how good your gear is. Why keep playing the game once you hit max level, once you have this best stuff in the game? Well, hopefully you've been paying attention earlier, but it's going to be different for every person. But just off the top of my head, maybe you want to beat every explorable mode dungeon in the game because that's the most challenging content. Maybe you have that raider mentality. I like the big, tough PvE challenges. Well, you're going to try to beat all the explorable mode dungeons. You know what? Maybe when you beat them all, you get a title, or maybe you get an achievement. Maybe you beat them all on one character, but you want to do it with a different character. Or maybe you want to make sure that all your friends have gotten through it, so you can keep playing doing that. Maybe you really like crafting, and in Guild Wars 2, you can level up all your crafting professions on one toon. You know, you can only have 2 of them active at a time, but you can, you don't lose progress when you switch to a new one, so maybe you want to do that. There's going to be people that want to explore every inch of every map, and I think there's going to be some sort of achievement, you know, to that, kind of like the cartographer titles in the original Guild Wars. Maybe you want to experience every little bit of lore you can, or maybe every little Easter egg that ties back to the first game. Maybe you love world versus world and you want to, you know, strategize with your entire server and continually, you know, beat the other servers week to week so that your server rank goes up. Probably the biggest carrot is 5 versus 5, you know, tournament mode competitive PvP. If you're one of those hardcore PvP players, you don't need new maps. There's going to be, I think there's going to be 4 maps to start, but you know, the content is different every time because you're playing against other players. I mean, look at other games when you're looking for incentive. The only reason why we're questioning this is because most people associate MMOs with this gear grind. But look at other games. There's tons of incentive to continually play other games, even though there's no gear grind to it. League of Legends. I mean, League of Legends is a hugely popular game. I mean, for a long time, there was only one map to that. And yet people still went in and played. And there's no new gear. You know, sure, you're unlocking new champions or whatever, but, you know, it's still a skill-based system. Every game is different because you're playing against other players. But people have logged millions of hours in this game, and there's no grinding of gear in it. You know, other games like shooters, like a Call of Duty. Sure, you might play the single-player mode, you know, once or twice to see what the story is, kind of like you would level up in Guild Wars, and, you know, you want to see what the story is. But once you've kind of learned all the skills and, you know, learned how to play the game through the tutorial, through the story mode, the real action's doing this multiplayer stuff. You want to jump into these multiplayer matches, and you're going to log hundreds of hours, even though you never find a shotgun +5. You know, the incentive is there. You just have to find what is it about, you know, what is it going to be for you that keeps you motivated to keep playing that game. You're going to have to find it. So I've been on this soapbox. I've been ranting about this. I know that it's difficult if you really want that rating mentality, that environment where, you know, I need to get the better loot. But I think that you're going to find a lot of incentive in playing this game if you just give it a chance. And it's not going to work for everybody. I know there's going to be some people that are turned off by this, and that's okay. But what I will say to that is there is no subscription fee in Guild Wars 2. So play the game when it comes out. It's going to be a hot topic in the gaming industry. You know, play it while it's still fun. And if you don't find that incentive for yourself once you hit max level, then take a break. You're not going to be paying you're not going to be paying a subscription fee. There's no reason you can't take a break and come back to the game. It'll always be there when they put out new content or when it gets, you know, hot again. So, that's basically what I have to say. There is incentive besides gear. You got to free your mind. You got to open your mind to it and see if you can find, you know, what is it that motivates you. There's tons of different things to do in the world, and that's all I'm going to say about that. So let me know what you think. Does this clear up the topic? Are there still more questions? Leave me a comment below. I try to answer as many as I can. And also, you can click that little subscribe link. I'm going to put it up on the screen somewhere or up above so that you can be notified when future videos are released. Please give me a thumbs up. Share this video with your friends. Put it on Reddit or wherever, forums, different places so that I can continue to grow my channel. I really, really appreciate it. And if you want to contact me, you can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Google+. I will put all the links below. And I hope you guys have a fantastic day. I'm out.